All right, now we're in lesson number 2, mapping out your business. So this is the fundamental first step to making your business totally hands-off. Let's jump right into it. So first, I want to show you why mapping out your business is so important. So what you have to understand is that in your business, you can think of completing any task or completing any desired outcome as completing a journey. And it's like a map. It's like, okay, how do I get from point A to point B? And you want to be able to have a map, for example, asking someone for directions. They might say, well, to get to the convenience store on 4th Street, you have to take a left out of the driveway, take a right on 10th Street, go down Biscayne Boulevard, and it'll be on your left in 2 miles. Now, that person has made that journey once before, and they know in their head how to get there, and they can also draw a map for you. And so you want to be able to map out your business so you can hand the same map off to someone else, whether that be an employee or a future buyer or a partner in your business. And so this is all about mapping out your business so that you can show someone at a high level as well as a low level what each intricate part of your business is and how to get from point A to point B. So the first part of mapping out your business is you have to do it. Like I said just a second ago, if you're going to give someone directions on how to get somewhere, not using your GPS in your phone, you have to have made that journey yourself. You had to have gone from point A to point B, or at least know how to get to point B very detailed. So to give someone directions, you have to know where that destination is and what it looks like. That's one key thing to mention as well, is you have to actually know what the destination looks like. If someone's going, you can't tell someone how to get to a certain convenience store if there wasn't a sign that said this is the convenience store, for example, or a certain grocery store. So tell them to look out for that sign, and you know what the destination looks like itself as well. So again, first you must do. And so you can't map out your business at a high level, at a 3,000-foot view, and certainly not detailed until you've actually gone through that process at least once. You have to have done it to tell someone else how to do it. That's critical. And so, my suggestion is, launch your first product. If you're doing Amazon, go through the process itself as you're learning, and you want to document everything that happens with notes, with videos, with whatever you can. Take very, very detailed notes. And trust me, you're going to thank yourself later if you do this. So document everything. And once you've gone through that process one time, then you'll be ready to create a detailed map and a blueprint for others to follow. So most importantly, you'll know if a service provider or an employee is doing the right job and with the quality that you expect. Again, know what the destination looks like. For example, if you're doing a launch on Amazon and you have a map for that, and you hire someone else to do it, you want to make sure the work they did was quality. And you're only going to know what quality work looks like if you've done it yourself. So that's an also very, very key thing, is not only handing off that map, but knowing that what was done is met to your standards. So let me tell you about a few tools that I use specifically for mapping out my business. One is Google Docs. Pretty straightforward. It's a free tool, and you're able to do a lot of things in it. If you're willing to map out your business with bullets and kind of sub-bullets and sub-bullets and sub-bullets about each step in mapping out your business, the Google Docs is a great tool. There's also a free tool called MindMap that you can use. I've used it. It's more visual. It's a little bit slower to use, but if you're a very visual person, then you might want to use something like MindMap. And there's also lots of paid tools. You can just do a Google search for the top mind maps if you want a nice visual editor. And there's tons of them. There aren't any other really great free options in my opinion. I've gone through a lot of them and they're just too complicated to use for me personally. Maybe you can figure them out. But in general, if you want to spend the $7 to $12 a month to find a good mind map tool, those do exist. So let's give you some examples of what a map actually looks like. So one example would be this Google Docs example right here. This is actually a map that I've helped put together for my mother for her real estate business. I'm going to open it up right now. And this is going to be shared with you as a reference that you can download for yourself if you'd like. So working with my mother in her real estate business, she was having difficulty creating SOPs, and we'll get into more about what SOPs are later, but basically they're procedures in the business so she can outsource things, and we'll get more into that later as well. But I asked her, well, how do you get from point A to point Z in your business? How do you go from A to Z? What makes a successful real estate company? And she couldn't really describe it to me. And I said, well, you have to really map this out if you want to make the business hands-off, because she's currently working 80 hours a week, the same place I was not too long ago. And so I'm trying to help her systemize and automate this business and make it hands-off. So you can see here what I've done is I've put together a template with several steps within systems and processes and SOPs underneath that. And again, we'll cover what SOPs are later. But there should be a few key steps to your business. For example, in Amazon, you have first the selection step. The product selection step is the first step in Amazon. Step 2 is the sourcing. Step 3 is the launch itself. And step 4 is the optimization and the maintenance. Amazon business is broken down into 4 steps in total. You then want to break those steps down into individual systems. So in the case of this real estate company, you can see that step 1 at a high level was building selling specialist team. System 1, a sub-step of that main step, is building a buyer's list. And then there's processes underneath that. So then there's like marketing buyer leads through RealFlow, which is a software she uses, marketing buyer leads through Facebook ads and websites. And then there's SOPs underneath each of those. So you can think about it as getting more and more detailed. For example, on a map, you might have, okay, point A to point Z. Well, the steps are first get to this state, and then this state, and then the destination. And then you could say, well, more detailed directions for each of those states are, well, you want to take these particular highways, and then the SOPs below those systems are, well, you want to take a left turn at this specific road. So it's getting more and more detailed and more granular as you go through each step in the process. But you kind of want to break things down from a high level into a medium level and then into a low level, which is very, very detailed. And this is the more overview level of everything. And that's how you want to map out your business. So that's an example right there. Let's get back into the presentation. Another example is with MindMap. So let's go over a quick example using MindMap. I'm going to open up a tab right now. I'm going to sign in. Okay, so here I'm going to click the Get Started button and then click Create a New Map. And this connects to your Google Drive, which I think is pretty amazing. But this is an actual visual mind map editor. So for someone who's more visual and wants to share information more visually with their employees or their partners, this is something you can use. It is going to take more time than just writing, but there are some benefits to having things very visual. So for this example, I'm going to create one for Amazon. So if I had the entire Amazon business right here, so this is the Amazon business in MindMap, I'm going to click on this and then just create, you can see up here in the top left-hand corner, I have insert sibling or child node. I'm going to insert a child node. That's going to make an extension of this main thing, which is the Amazon business. And we'll do step 1. Step 1, as you may know, is the selection for Amazon. So that's step 1. Then we're going to insert a child node for step 2, which is the sourcing. I'm going to move that over here. You can drag and drop. Insert child node. Step 3 is the launch. And then finally, step 4 is the optimization. So I like bringing everything over to one side like this right here and creating kind of like a logical flow from left going to right and kind of branching out all of the steps in the business. So step 1 is a selection, step 2 is the sourcing, step 3 is the launch, and step 4 is the optimization. There it goes. All right, so now we're going to break these into even smaller sections. So we now have our steps. Now we're going to make our systems out of this, or our processes. So now let's come to step 1. Let's insert a child node, and now we're going to create our process here, or our system. So system 1, for example, could be our browsing. So browsing Amazon for ideas. And we can break that down into even smaller components as well. So we're going to insert a child node. Now we might have SOP1 here underneath this. So SOP1 could be browsing Amazon bestsellers. SOP2 could be browsing Amazon movers and shakers. SOP3 could be using software to find ideas. And then underneath step 1, going back to more of a high-level thing, we can create a new system called validating ideas. So this could be system 2. And again, this is something that falls underneath the step 1 selection. So system 2, validating ideas. So SOP1 here might be something like determining competition in the niche. SOP2 could be determining profit margin in the niche. And SOP3 could be determining revenue opportunity in the niche. And so you can see how this kind of goes from the Amazon business to each individual step, to the systems, into the individual processes that make the business move, each task with the desired outcome. And I could be here all day, creating this entire mind map, but it would end up having probably like 900 leaves at the end here. And you can also change colors in mind map for organization purposes. So I can change the node style, the background can be this color. So again, it's just a great visual editor and a great free tool. It is going to take more time, but you can use this to map out your business like we've been talking about. So I have some homework for you, and that is to start this right now. I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to wait until you finish going through this Amazon process. I'm literally begging you to do this because I wish I had done this. It would have saved me a year if I had done this when I started. And I probably was working 80 hours a week for several months, like probably 6, 7, 8 months. And if I had done this earlier in my process of beginning my Amazon journey, I would have thanked myself so much for documenting the process as I went through this. So start this now. Step 1 is, as you go through this course, I want you to take detailed notes on everything, very detailed notes, and make sure they're organized as well. That's so, so important. I also want you to create a brand new Gmail account or a G Suite account and have a Google Drive that is dedicated to this business. Don't have a folder inside of your personal Gmail and your personal Google Drive that is like, Tai's Amazon course or Knowledge Society Amazon course or anything like that. Don't do that. I want you to make this real, open up a new account and have its own dedicated place for all this information, because that's gonna, help you with your organization tremendously. So definitely start a new account, have a drive dedicated to this, and begin documenting everything as you go through this so you can make that very detailed map later. Next thing is I want you to begin organizing your notes, videos, and everything else in this drive. So don't just open the drive and leave it there. Now begin organizing things appropriately, and we'll go over some more organization later in these videos. Also, document every success, failure, and aha moment you have. Have a place for like your big, for you have problems and how you solved those problems. And so each fire you had to put out, document that as well. And that'll help you make this high-level overview and this map later on in your business. Finally, if you aren't ready to create your mind map yet, then the 4 steps above are going to give you everything you need to organize your business into a map when the right time comes. So that's why you're going to thank yourself later when you do this. So definitely document everything. And let's go into lesson number 3 next.